Well, I will give Black Clover some credit when credit is due. I was very surprised to have a death scene in this week's episode. Granted, I didn't care about the old man that died, and I didn't have any emotions towards him, and I didn't care about the other characters when they got either upset or angry, but even then, though, I still will give credit, because this lets us know a couple of things. Number one, Black Clover is willing to kill off characters, even if the character isn't really relevant in the grand scheme of things, because, let's be honest here, at the end of the day, this character really didn't serve much importance at all, besides a little bit of characterization to one of our main characters, and unless he gets a little bit more characterization in the future of the series, for now, the character is just very irrelevant. Nothing really amazing at all, unless the character's alive, which that could be a potential possibility since this is a shonen, and I have seen it to where shonen have it to where it looks like a character's dead, and then they get back up at the end of the arc, so that could potentially happen. But anyways, though, I will say that this does let us know that characters could potentially die, even if it is a fodder character. So that means that this series is definitely a step above Fairy Tail, because, as we know, here to Mashima, he doesn't like to kill off characters, but also he doesn't like to kill off fodder either, because he even says fodder. Well, we know this. We have seen this. Now, granted, it's not really that hard to beat Fairy Tail, but still, it's a nice step just to see that Black Clover isn't as low as Fairy Tail, and, you know, people love to pick on Black Clover. I know myself, I picked on it as well, won't even deny that, but we can't say that it is Fairy Tail, because, at the very least, the writer's willing to kill off characters. So, I'm just gonna say, I give you credit, Black Clover, I definitely do. I'm not gonna fault you for it, not gonna put you down for that. You did a very good job, so, good stuff to the writer as well. So anyways, this week's episode, I want to cover the first part, which I want to get it out of the way, because I know I need to discuss it, but I know this is going to trigger quite a few of you, but, you know, I want to discuss it regardless. It just needs to be mentioned because it's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. So, I counted. We had 4 minutes and 5 seconds of recap and opening. That's counting both together. 4 minutes and 5 seconds. That is ridiculous. That is legit ridiculous, because that's not even counting the ending song and the preview for next episode and all that. That's not even counting that. So, when you factor all this in, a big chunk of the episode, almost like 20, maybe 25% of the episode, is pointless. Pointless. Now, granted, you might like, you know, the opening song or the ending song, you might enjoy that, fine. However, in terms of new content, about 20 to 25% of the episode is pointless, which is unacceptable. It's extremely unacceptable, especially when the manga is way beyond where we're at in the anime. Like, we have over 100-something chapters of Black Clover, so it's unacceptable how Studio Clown continues to do this and think that this is truly the right thing to do, because it's obvious what they're doing. They're milking this series out. They're just stretching it for that 51 episodes. I mean, this is the same studio that did what they did to Naruto. I mean, think about what they did to the final arc of Naruto. Just process that in your head real quick. Just think about, I know many of you out there might not be a Naruto fan, but you most likely have heard about what happened to the anime. The manga was gone for a while, like 2 years before the anime and Naruto ended, because they were in filler hell. They were stretching that filler out for as long as they could to milk that series, and so that just goes to show what this studio would do for that money, which, like I said, studios, they need to make money too. I'm not going to fault them for that. However, when you're milking the series to the point where it's just incredibly obvious and you just do not care about the original source at all, that's a problem. And this right here is just extremely unacceptable, because it's... I feel like I'm meeting a dead horse, but it's just, I need to mention it because it's a problem. It is a legit problem. There should not be almost 5 minutes of just useless information in an episode this early on in a series, that's especially going to be 50-something episodes, that has over 100 chapters, and this has finally covered Chapter 7 of the manga. Chapter 7 of the manga! Yo, what? What? Why are we getting like 4 minutes of recap, okay, and like opening, with only 7 chapters being adapted right now, when there's over 100? That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to end it there, because I know I've already just made a lot of people mad, but you know what? It happens. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I've already told you guys, I don't hate Black Clover. I don't hate the series. It disgusts me with how a studio thinks they can get away with something that is just this messed up. But okay. Anyways, though, this episode of Black Clover, the first half of it tries to give characterization to the old man. The old man that, in fact, died in this episode. Now, we get to see a little bit of a bore scene with Austin and all that, which is pretty enjoyable overall. Nothing really important. It was just continuing on the plot thread from the previous episode, so there's no problem there. There's no problem at all. It just, in terms of the importance, like the grand scheme of things, it wasn't relatively important. However, it was a good scene, so I'm not gonna, fault that at all. So the bore scene, interesting. Now, like I said, getting back into the old man, majority of the episode was spent showcasing one of our main characters and his characterization, how he had this connection with the old man, and the scene felt to me very drawn out, which once again leads to one of the big problems I've had with this series is the pacing. And I don't know if this was in the manga or if it was not, because anime only here, but basically it felt like Studio Clown went in and, did the exact same scene a couple of times over. They repeated it a couple of times just to kind of extend the episode out with the old man when he was going after the character, and then, he was, beating him and all that, and then it went over to the next scene, and then he challenged him in a fight. It just felt like it was rehashed a couple of times just to kind of lengthen the episode out. Now, like I said, I could be wrong there, but it felt like Studio Clown was definitely doing something with that flashback, especially with the way it was presented to the audience that watched this week's episode of Black Clover. Now, regardless of that, though, like I said, the characterization, even though it's needed, we needed the characterization, I didn't care about the old man that died, because he was literally just introduced to just die. That's it. And I don't care about the character. I wasn't emotionally invested in the character. And so, yeah. Just gonna say right now. So, in terms of that, it was kind of relatively pointless. It was. Now, besides that, let's talk about something, okay? I've had this question in the back of my mind for weeks now. I've constantly been asking myself, why am I watching Black Clover? Why do I continue to watch this? Well, I know it's nothing original. It's nothing that breaks the mold. It's nothing that screams and says this is the best shonen of all time. It's nothing like that. But I've asked myself a lot, why do I keep watching? Why do I keep watching this? And many have asked me as well, Chibi, why do you keep watching Black Clover? What's wrong with you? Why do you keep doing this? You complain about it every week. And, before I go any further, I'm complaining about the anime adaptation. I'm not complaining about the original source, okay? I want to state that real quick, okay? I want to clarify. I'm not complaining about Black Clover. I'm complaining about Studio Clown and how they're handling Black Clover. Okay, anyways, though, I've asked myself, why do I continue to watch this? And I've come to the conclusion, after thinking about it quite a bit, I think it's because this is so stereotypical, it's so shonen, that it feels so innocent. It speaks to me. I feel like it kind of hits my nostalgia bar. Like, wherever I hold my nostalgia within me, I feel like that's where it's hitting. It's hitting that inner child in me. And when I used to really get into shonen and was watching a lot and reading a lot of shonen manga, I feel like however the writer wrote this, it's something that I know for a fact is not necessarily amazing, but somehow I feel like there's just this innocence to it. Just Black Clover has this innocence because it's just such a simple shonen manga. It has this innocence to where it's like a typical shonen, but you can appreciate it and enjoy it. And somehow the writer, even though there's so many cliches and things thrown together that honestly shouldn't work, it honestly should be a really bad series to where many probably should stop talking about the series, somehow people talk about it. And I think the reason for that is because somehow the writer, even though there's nothing original going on, the writer has been able to incorporate all these little fragments of different shonen into one series and somehow make it a cohesive story. That's interesting when you think about it. It's actually very impressive when you really process that in your mind. I mean, it may not be at the level of impressive like, what, someone like Vagabond's writer does, or, Oisumi Poon Poon, or, Berserk and all that, but regardless, so it's still impressive to see how a writer's able to, put all of these little things from other shonen into one series and somehow make it work. A miracle, luck, I don't know, good writing, I have no idea, but I feel like that's why I continue to watch the series. But okay, getting back into, the series, though, the latest episode, The second half of the episode introduces the main antagonist. Now, we did see him in the last episode, but in this episode, we get to see him, a good glimpse of him and all that. He uses a lot of ice magic, we have mist going on, and he's like a complete good counter to the main focused character of this arc. So it's pretty interesting. Ice and fire going up against each other. It's something standard, and so nothing really surprising whatsoever. Now, here's the big thing that really just made me laugh, okay? So, our main female character, she, as we know, she's royalty, and she can't really use magic. She's bad at it, and Asta is someone that doesn't have magic, but he's very confident in his own skills and strength, and you have the other characters as well. Even though they're a bunch of misfits, failures, and all that, they try to stand up and, do what they believe in. And our main female character, she is someone that is royalty. She has a lot of magic, strong power. We've seen this. I mean, even though she can't control it, her power is insane. If she was able to control this, it would be literally ridiculous. But in this episode, she's realizing, like, she's, useless. She's actually, not helping them at all. She's actually kind of putting them in a spot to where they can't, probably perform how they want because she's holding them back. And soon she was about to run away because she doesn't want to die there, and she realized how pointless she was. All of a sudden, this little girl comes in and is like, "Hey, save us!" And then she's like, "Yes, I must save all of you." She opens up her book and all that, and then all of a sudden, she has a new ability and is able to protect her, and I'm like, well, the power of plot. The power of plot's like, here you go. Here's a new spell. Use it. Here you go. I'm like, oh, this is just like one of the most stereotypical shonen things to happen. The power of friendship, or the power of I must protect people, or whatever. Just like that legit. I just laugh because of how funny and awkward that scene was. But it wasn't necessarily bad. But I want to end it there. This episode overall, it was enjoyable, had its moments, had its problems as well, but it's Black Clover. I think that's what we've all come to expect by now. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.